but I know what people think when they see people like us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Unstereotyped Real Life. If you haven't noticed, the media is oversaturated with negative representations of the Latin community. They portray us as criminals or illegals who do nothing but steal from this country, but that's not at all true. I want to amplify the voices of my community and offer a glimpse into the real work lives of the Latin community, specifically women who are following their dreams and showing younger generations that they can follow their passions despite what society thinks and expects of them. My name is Melanie Hernandez, and I am a proud Latina and the host of this podcast. Now, please help me welcome my first guest of this podcast and my dearest friend, Penelope Rivera.
Hey, Melanie.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually very excited to have you here.
Me too. This is my first podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Are you
A
nervous?
little nervous. I've seen all the videos online, so.
It's okay, me too.
we
But
go
you know
viral.
what? We'll get through this together.
Okay.
So, Penelope, you are a Latina journalist working for KERA, right?
Yes, the NPR station in North Texas.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a bit more about your role there and what you do?
Yes. So right now I'm the Tarrant County Accountability Reporter. That's my official title. So I cover news outside of Tarrant County. A lot of it has to do with the local leaders, local officials, but I kind of get some freedom to do what I want to do as well. So I've been really interested in jail deaths. Unfortunately, the Tarrant County Jail has had a lot of deaths in the last nearly decade. I do some cases with lawsuits. Trying to think of what else. I've done some coverage in the past with pastors in North Texas, and I've kind of been.
Yes.
There's definitely still some.
You broke
pastors.
some news about that, right?
I did, yes. So there was like a string of pastors that were accused of sexual abuse, sexual assault.
Yeah.
A lot of them had to do with underage and children. That was in 2024, that summer. There was like a bunch of stuff that was happening. So I'm still trying to continue with like cases that are ongoing in Fort Worth. So like that's some other stuff that I've done, but I just joined this position. So I'm still kind of getting the hang of things.
Where were you at before?
I was still at KERA, but I was the breaking news reporter. So any story that comes out that day that's breaking news, you know, I'm the one that's like jumping on it. So I have more freedom now of like long-term pieces and stuff like that. So just like figuring out.
So it feels like a
navigating.
whole lot different now that you're in this position?
It definitely does, yeah, because I have a whole new team, technically a new boss that like edits my stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been different.
Were you involved in any journalism-related organizations before that, like maybe high school or college?
So I decided that I wanted to be a journalist because I took a journalism class in high school. Before that, I mean, I always loved writing, but I thought I was going to do something more in creative writing because I've always done creative writing in my free time. But then I took a journalism class and I ended up loving it and just being exposed to the significance of journalism and understanding how it can really help people by sharing their stories. So I decided that's what I wanted to do in college. I was on the student newspaper in high school, but then COVID kind of, I didn't get as many opportunities to like explore that. And then when I was at UNT, again, COVID was happening. So that was kind of my excuse to not really do
To like
much.
delay it a little bit, yeah.
And then I think the first thing that I really joined was NT Daily.
Yeah,
the
with
student,
me.
The student-run newspaper with yours.
I like to think that I recruited you.
I mean, you did. You kind of like forced me to apply. But I was glad. Like, I was nervous because there was, for a year before that, I was in the little group chats, but I just never went to the meetings.
Oh, like
I never,
the Slack channels?
Yeah, I was too nervous because
Yeah.
I didn't really know anyone. I didn't have any journalism friends before you, so.
Yeah,
nervous.
well, it's good that you joined because look at where you are now. I mean, you've grown a
Yeah.
whole lot, you know?
I mean, I started as an intern at KERA, and that was through a partnership with UNT, and that was offered to people on NT Daily. So it's literally just
Yeah, it was just like one
a
whole
line
like
of
flow.
events. Yeah.
That's really good to see because you kind of just been it's been kind of like a linear progression for you, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah, my coworker, you met her, Tolawani. She said it's my takeover of KERA from intern to full time to like my
Right?
first beat there. So it's been fun.
You're gonna be EIC soon.
Don't
Knock
tell
on wood.
don't tell Ed Tims that.
No.
But he's listening.
So far, you think all your journalistic experiences have prepared you for this role that you just entered?
For sure. I mean, I didn't have any other experience besides what I was doing at NT Daily. And even then, a lot of my work focused on opinion stuff because I was the opinion copy editor and then the editor. But I did some arts and life stories. But even then, that doesn't really go into what I do now because I cover hard news now. So I really just learned along the way through the internship.
Yeah, I feel like in this field, you got to pick up these skills like pretty quickly, you know? Like if you're behind, you're going to really be behind, you know?
Yeah, but then I also volunteered a little bit at the KNTU, the UNT radio station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that my last semester, so that definitely helped me learn a little bit about the programs I use now. So that helped too.
For sure. And it's really cool to see you in a newsroom because there are not very many women who make it that far or successfully move up positions how you did. Did you know that only 40% of journalists are women?
No, I didn't know that.
We're not even half.
And that's honestly more than years ago. I honestly thought it was less.
But the funny thing is that we're still dominating in the classroom. So 61.6% of women are currently in their bachelor's degree, 65.3 are in their master's degree, and 58.4 in doctoral degree programs. So it's like we are taking over like these classrooms almost, but like only 40% of us are journalists. So it's very interesting to see like those statistics.
Yeah, that is. I didn't know that. And I do feel lucky in that sense because when I'm out reporting, I do notice that a lot of the times I am the only woman and especially the only minority there. There's like maybe one or two other ones, but KERA I feel like does a really good job of having a diverse newsroom. It's the most diverse job I've ever had in my life.
And as it should be, especially for a news organization.
Yeah.
So how do you explain your identity to someone else, like in terms of ethnicity or other factors like first generation student, immigrant, et cetera?
I always say Mexican. I know the like official term is Mexican American because I was born here. But I say that. I say I'm first generation. That's off the bat. But if they ask more questions, I like to say that I'm more of my heritage, I guess, comes from South Mexico because I do think there's a difference between northern Mexican states and southern Mexican states.
Oh, yeah. That's like a whole debate.
A whole different culture, a whole different look and everything.
For sure. And just regarding identity and like your general self, how has it been working? How has it been working in this new environment of like just, I guess, a real professional newsroom? I know you said it was a diverse, and do you truly feel like you fit in, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, it's different now because since I got this new position and I'm in Tarrant County, KERA is based in Dallas. So now I basically get housed through this organization that we have a partnership with. So I'm in the office in Fort Worth, and it is a little bit different over there. I'm still like getting to know everyone, but I do miss like the people like KERA because I had relationships with them.
Right. Because when you were just describing, you're describing where the office that you would frequently go, because then now that you moved the positions, you're in Fort Worth mainly. So you're mainly going into this office unless they call you into Dallas, right?
Pretty much,
So this is kind of like basically a new environment, then like a whole newsroom that you got to get used to and like learn the people and build relationships, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think it's important for a journalist to have your identity in this newsroom?
My identity, like
as like a Latina, Mexican woman, you know?
I think so. I think it's super important because depending on the coverage, the way you look or what group of people you might represent, it can help so much when you're out reporting and who might feel more comfortable to talk with you. And I'm bilingual, so that really helps because I've interviewed people that only speak Spanish. And so that's always like a tool to utilize. But I think it's really important because people are a little more nervous sometimes to talk to only like the white reporters, and that's not a reflection of them. Like that doesn't mean they're a bad reporter or
Yeah.
anything, but some minorities feel just a little bit more hesitant, and I get it. Like
That's
you just
true.
never know.
Yeah.
So.
But I do want to say again that I'm so glad that you are the first guest of this podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be the
Honestly,
first one invited.
no, for sure. It was always going to be you, though.
Oh,
Like, honestly, I
right.
think you're the perfect fit because since you are a Latina working in the journalism field, like, you are seeing and staying up to date with all this news, not just regarding our community, but just everything. So you kind of I feel like you see everything firsthand, and you can kind of see how the media can perpetuate negative frames through like agenda setting. You kind of have to stay on top of it. So I feel like you're
Yeah.
a really good guest to have on as the first episode as we discuss all of this. Agenda setting is really a big issue right now,
I know.
considering all like the coverage on the ICE raids and just the administration in general. Like it really, the people are really forced to think that this is like a really big issue because of how much the media is covering it. So it's
Yeah. And it's important to. I can't. It's just it puts you in a weird position because I see on the news people that look like us and the agenda that's being put out, but at the same time, I can't really share my opinions publicly because of my job, which I understand because you don't you just my whole thing is to earn the trust of the public and to not be biased. So I can't really say much about that, but I know what people think when they see people like us.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. I know you just said you can't really share your opinion, especially since you're doing news. I'm obviously on a different spectrum since I don't do news stuff. I do more arts and like culture stuff. So if I feel the need to speak out or post something, I will. And I know you probably really would like to post something online, but you obviously can't because of your job. Does that ever make things difficult in terms of like where you stand morally or like, your identity and how you align? Do you ever struggle with that?
I don't think so, because I already have my opinions, and I'm always open to hearing other ones, and I'll hear the other side of an argument because that's just in my nature to do now. But I don't think it's ever made me lose my path of how I identify or what my own opinions are. I just know that I can't post them publicly. So what I do instead is post stories that will inform people with what's really going on, and then you can develop your own opinion after
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah, I feel like the journalist brain in us like knows that how easy misinformation can be spread because there's a lot of, I guess, political accounts online that are not exactly news organizations, but it's just people, reposting stuff for a cause. And even those accounts might unwillingly spread misinformation thinking, like for the sake of their cause.
That's the thing that sucks too with social media. That's so frustrating is nobody's fact checking. Like you said, like they'll see something that's already feeding into what their personal beliefs are and immediately reshare it without making sure what they're posting is true. Like with the Super Bowl, people were saying that the little boy that he gave the Grammy to was
Liam
Liam.
Ramos.
Yeah, and it's like, where did y'all get this
It's a
from?
random little boy, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember NPR was the first one that I saw that said, no, that's not him. It's just like it's supposed to represent Bad Bunny when he was younger.
Yeah, I thought that was like the context.
And I saw people reposting it that I follow, and I had the urge to swipe up and say, like, you're not even that's not true.
Yeah.
Like delete this right now.
It's like why would he be there?
Exactly. Why would he invite him? And why I don't even think his dad would want that kind of.
No, I don't know. Yeah, people kind of just make up their own narratives in their head to kind of push on both sides, like to push their beliefs, but at the same time you have to make sure that you're sharing the facts.
Exactly. So
yeah, it can get really hard when people do that.
Like I already can't post any opinionated things, but seeing stuff like that only pushes me or motivates me more to just post factual stuff.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I try to do now too, especially with the stuff going on in Palestine. Like I try to repost stories from like Al Jazeera or like the accounts that are actually covering like the true stories.
Yeah.
Instead of something that's just kind of more opinion based,
Exactly.
Like, well, I know how I feel about the story, but I want to amplify like from a news organization who's doing the work to share the story, you know?
Like people that are out there on the scene reporting.
Yeah, like Bisan and Plestia, like
Yeah.
all the journalists, like they deserve to have their work shared, you
Oh,
know? And in
yeah.
the same sense, like with every other topic is it's basically what should be doing, you know? How do you think your identity as a Mexican woman shapes your work? If it does, do you think it causes you to maybe notice stories that others wouldn't?
Mm, I that's a good question. I think so. It's a little bit different here because we have a pretty big Latino population. So people do notice some stories, but I think my perception of stories or of sources is a little bit different. I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes when somebody's interviewing an older Mexican person, for example, you just see them as another Hispanic person, whatever. But to me, I see my mom or my dad or my grandma, and it makes it a little more personal for
Oh, for
me,
sure, yeah.
because
I feel that.
and they always like some people I've talked to, they have kids my age or grandkids or whatever. So it definitely puts a different
Yeah,
perspective for me because I see parts of my own family in them.
I completely
So,
agree. Because a lot of the people that I interview, like I said, are Latino. And so I specifically remember one family I interviewed uh, the husband and the wife and their daughter because they run this family business. And they were the sweetest family ever. I conducted the interview in Spanish, and it felt like I was talking to like my tío or something. And their story was also very sad because it was about a restaurant that was, I guess, struggling to stay open ever since COVID, and like fear of ICE and all of that caused their customers to not really come around as much. So they were like struggling to stay open. And just hearing their story and then how nice they were. They cooked me a meal and I sat and ate with them after. And like, I was like sitting there eating, wanting to cry. I was like, like I
right?
fight crying like in every interview because like I feel like I love hearing everybody's stories, and especially like you said, you see a family member within them or just another person. Like you see their humanity, you know. And I always get so emotional in between interviews. Like I'm like, why am I gonna cry right now? Like why do I
Right?
feel my eyes like
Yeah, but it makes things more personal, and sometimes you need that, especially when you're doing a feature or a profile. So, like, I like it, and it's weird because there's so many similar stories like that. Like, I know I'm just one more person of parents that came here, but it doesn't make it any less special every time I hear them. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know many people, like many journalists that are Latina. I think you were the only
really that you
in
know.
at UNT in the classes and everything. I think you were like the only
Like only 27% of top editors from 240 news outlets in 12 markets across 5 continents are women.
and I believe
27%.
I do
Despite
believe that.
40% of journalists being women.
Like editors in general or the editors in chief?
Like, no, just like editors in general.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think right now it's if I'm thinking of 5 editors. There's another girl. There's another one. But she does more of the statewide stuff. But she's there too. So, but no, you are right. Like, I mean, I've seen it in other outlets and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, you're definitely got pretty lucky with the one you were at, but
yeah,
like I don't know much about like Dallas Morning News or anything or
me
their
neither. I don't
diversity,
know what that looks like, but
definitely probably some of the bigger ones are not in the same boat as you are.
I mean, it's a statistic for a reason. So,
And only 3% of those women are Latina.
and I believe that because none of them.
3% of journalists, not the editors. So you're part of that 3% now.
3% of journalists are Latinas.
Of that 40% of women.
Oh,
And you're part of that 3%, girl.
that's crazy. Actually,
That's insane.
That is.
Despite Latin people making up 20% of the U.S. population and 40% of the Texas population. And there's
I thought it was more. I thought
it's like 40%.
I thought Texas was more than half Latino.
When I searched, it said 40%.
Oh, never mind.
Well, hopefully it was right, but
I thought it was more than that. Was like
I
a
know
record-breaking
40 to
news.
50 maybe. Like it was
Well,
almost like half.
okay.
I feel like around like half,
Mhm.
but still
Yeah.
3%. And I think it was like, I think the 3% statistic was from maybe like 2-3 years ago. I didn't find anything more recent, but if it went up, it was maybe like 1%. And like for Latino men, like 7%. So y'all barely make up 10%.
We barely make it.
And
And
like,
that makes sense,
you know,
unfortunately.
and like imagine if they did shape your newsroom to reflect the Texas population, 40% of your newsroom would have to be Latino, and and then also like according to Latino men and women, you know, like imagine. Do you see yourself doing this forever though? Like, is there something else you think you want to explore? Like, I know you said you really have grown to love radio, but is there something else that you wish you could do too?
I don't know. I think it would be nice, the idea of doing something else later on in life. I feel like writing, again, like that's always something I wanted to do, it's something always I loved. I feel like my true purpose in life, which might sound weird, but to make as many connections and meet as many people as I can in my life. I love talking to people. I love hearing people's stories. You know, Humans of New York on Instagram.
Yes. I had the book, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you can't let me borrow it.
You can borrow it.
That's kind of the dream right there. He just goes around talking to random people and hearing their stories. Like, I love doing that. Like, sometimes some of my other friends say that I'm too friendly or whatever, but like it's just so fun.
Really?
Yeah, because you never know, you could run into a weirdo. But
that's true.
I love.
But I feel like like if they're a weirdo or not, almost.
Yeah, like I think that's, if I were to do something else, it would still definitely have to be working with people in some way, or music. I would love doing music. Like one day, if I get tired of the hard news, switch over to the music side of radio. That'd be really cool. I would love to like dissect albums and write reviews on stuff like that.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like journalism industry in general, you're interacting with different people every day, whether you're out in the field talking to somebody or, you know, trying to coordinate with another media team or something. I feel like there's always a chance to talk to people, because I feel like we're very similar in that way. Like when we're together, we love talking to people.
And we find random people that really talk to us and will give us free stuff.
Right? Like,
it's kind of nice.
I feel like we have like a good, like together we have that like openness that I don't know, I don't want to say like aura, like where like people are like want to talk and like share. Like I feel like we're good at also listening and talking. Like,
I think so. I'm thinking of some of our experiences together.
We've had a lot of experience.
Oh my gosh,
that's funny.
But I don't know. I was gonna say something else. Well, yeah, this job only emphasized that more and taught me how to talk to people even more. My editor told me that we were talking about, like, me and my coworker Tolwani, when were some moments that he realized that we were something special or like a good reporter or whatever. And for me, he told me it's because this other guy, this other outlet gave me the scoop on something that was happening at this, like there was like a shooting, and he gave me like some information that wasn't released yet. Just randomly, he's like, "Oh yeah, you didn't know, like one of the victims is like a Dallas ISD student or whatever." And I was like, "No, I didn't know that. Can you send me the info?" And he did. And when I got back to the office, my editor was like, "Why did he tell you that?" I was like, "I don't know, he just did." And so we broke that news before them.
Really?
Yeah. And my boss was like, he was like, "Something about you, people just want to talk to you and they want to tell you stuff, and it's so fascinating."
That's
and
nice.
Like, "Oh, thank you."
I agree.
So I try to use it to my advantage because, like, again, I love talking to people. So
yeah, you really do have that vibe about you, that like that openness.
I get it from my mom. She's the same way. I've seen her talk to people.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
she's funny.
She's really funny.
I like her. I love her actually.
She doesn't even know how funny she is.
That's my mom now, actually.
Literally, that is your mom.
Speaking of your mom, do your parents support your career?
Oh yeah, 100%. My dad has this thing where he'll like tell people, I think he shows people like the Instagram reels that KERA has posted to me. Yeah.
Aww.
Or he'll find them and I'm like, how did you? Oh, it's because one of my brothers, he loves KERA. Well, I think he does. And he'll show him my stuff online. Yeah, because my dad doesn't have social media. And I'm like, oh man.
He's like, did you see this one yet?
Yeah, he'll literally show him all of them. And then my mom, I mean, like a lot of people, I grew up listening to KERA like in the backseat of my car. So my mom like was like out of this world when I even got the internship. When I told her it was full time, she was so happy. So
Yeah, that's actually a
full circle
really cool
moment.
story. Like, yeah, definitely full circle. Like,
Yeah.
growing up hearing this channel, because like I myself,
Yeah.
I mean, I watch PBS Kids. Like, that's my top. Like that was my favorite thing to do. So it's like we grew up with this media, but little did you know that you were gonna be a part of that now.
And not only that, but KERA helped me and my mom learn English because when I was born, my mom still didn't really know English. So KERA was one of the outlets that she would listen to that helped her learn. And because she didn't know English, like I was mostly learning English from the TV, and a lot of that was PBS. So
Yeah,
that's where I
I'm
learned
pretty sure
it
that's
from.
like the same story for like a lot of people.
That's why
really
it's
cool.
it's like a really big thing for me to be working there. All in all, to say like they are very proud, but my mom is very much like, okay, but what's next? What are you gonna do next? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Did she watch your clips too? Like your dad? Like did she
Well,
try to stay
She
up to date?
does, but she doesn't have social media either, so I'll show
So you
them
have
to
to send
her.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and she loves watching them. So
Oh, that's so sweet.
yeah,
I love that.
and she kind of influenced my love for the news because she's always watched the news. I was telling you the other day, like she's so knowledged in everything that has to do with current news, past news, history. Like that woman knows everything. She's like one of the smartest people I know. So that I think that definitely influenced me in understanding the significance of news, like how important it is. So
Yeah. That's really good to hear because a lot of people struggle with choosing their career paths because a lot of the times immigrant parents might push them to pursue like STEM related jobs as opposed to arts and humanity because they think about like, oh, is that going to make you money? Or, you know, like you don't just follow your dreams, like you have to make money, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of the immigrant families that have that, or the immigrant parents that have that mentality are like maybe lower income, you know, and they're more focused on survival instead of.
Exactly. That's another thing, and I think that has to do with the lack of representation because not everyone has parents, especially immigrant parents, that are gonna push them to pursue careers rather than jobs because like a lot of our parents didn't even finish. Like my mom, she does have a bachelor's in Mexico, but like my dad barely finished high school. A lot of other people's parents, they didn't finish even middle school because education is not prioritized in these countries. So like why are they gonna, not to say why are they going, but they're not gonna be essentially prioritizing, like pushing their kids to prioritize it either because that's not something that was in their like growing up.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another big thing that my mom always pushed me to have, like want a career and have something to be passionate in and education. But she was also like that. Like she was like, you don't want to do something in STEM because again, the money.
Yeah.
And when I was still in college, she was a bit skeptical of journalism because she knew that people were getting laid off, newsrooms are getting smaller and all that. So she was like, are you going to be able to find a job? Like, what if you struggle? Like, she always told me, you have to be a really good journalist and know a lot of things to like make it far. And I'm like, okay, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
But I feel like that's also changed because a lot of people are learning on the job now. Like
That's
you're being
very
thrown
much.
into a beat and you're like, oh, I guess I got to learn
That's literally what
how
happened to
to
me.
write like what's it called, an obituary, like, you know, like
Yeah,
if they
like
did
just
like
random
funerals.
stuff.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
gotta learn how to
Yeah.
gotta learn quickly. So I feel like that's also maybe a little bit of an advantage when it comes to like our field if you want to jump something specific.
I think the passion part definitely helped me because my editor told me, because they were the ones that pushed me to get this, like the entry level job, the breaking news one, from my internship, and he was like, yeah, you're not that good, but you just this is when I was about to start full time.
He said that?
Well, he's like very
Wait, that's actually
honest.
really
He was
funny.
like, you're not that good. And he's like, and that's okay. That's where I come in as your editor. Like, you're gonna learn. And looking back at some of my writing, yeah, I wasn't that good. And my radio.
And it got published?
And it got published. Well, congrats, it
They
got
needed
edited.
those stories.
But, oh my God, my radio voice, I cringe listening to the way I tried to sound. Because I think I was,
Really?
there's a certain way that broadcast, like TV people will enunciate the words. And I was trying to do that. And he told me, you
Like how? Like
I don't want to do it. You know how like they'll be
Because
like
I remember it was like,
tonight on this, da, 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 da. You know what I mean?
oh, okay, yeah.
And I tried to do that, and he was like, just talk
It's like,
naturally.
what are you doing?
Yeah, he was like, you don't like talk naturally, talk as if you're talking to your friend, enunciate your words, and take breaths. He was like, please take breaths in between because it sounds weird and unnatural if you don't. Because I used to cut out my breaths in between like my lines, and he was like, don't do that because who the hell is like listening to this and you're not breathing? Like that's weird.
Yeah.
So there was there was a lot of things I didn't know, a lot of things I had to learn, and he was very honest about it, and I
That's
appreciate
good though.
it.
You need that constructive criticism because otherwise, look
Yes,
where you're at. You probably wouldn't have gotten to where you are now. I mean, no,
yeah.
I still believe in you that you would have, but like
Yeah,
that
like
help is necessary.
it's very necessary. And again, like I see my writing then versus now, and there's been some improvements.
That's
so
good.
I do appreciate that I have an editor like that likes to be a mentor to the what he says, the young journalist.
Yeah.
So
What if you were an editor like that? That would be cool.
I don't know. He's so
Well, not like that,
like
but
him,
like a
and
good
just an editor.
like
I don't know. It would be years and years till I'd be an editor. Because everyone that is an editor, they're in their late 30s and up. So that's like far from now. I feel like I gotta have some more experience.
Do you think currently there's like certain pressures that you feel being the daughter of immigrants in terms of your career?
Like pressures from them or from society?
I guess specifically from them, you know, like
Yeah, all the
like
time.
like I know you said like she says, "What's next?" You know, does that ever get a little bit overwhelming? Like, oh my God, I have to like move up, I have to do this, I have to get paid more.
No, at this point I'm over it. Just because, I mean, I had that my whole life. Like not going to college was not an option. It was college or
Me too.
nothing. Yeah, that's just it. Cause to her, and I get it. A part of it is a little bit of guilt, but yeah, it's the fact that, you know, they came to this country and they left everything behind and sacrificed so much just
For you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so who am I to not go to college? And especially, I mean, I pretty much went to college for free because of all
The help.
the help from the government and everything. So what in the world else was I gonna do? So there was a lot of pressure from that, but also because I didn't go to what you would consider a prestigious school or anything. It's like, okay, I just need to take advantage of every opportunity that I can. So there definitely there's definitely always been pressure to be successful, and that's driven one of my careers is to not be successful and to get left behind. And I think that fear did drive a lot of my passion for stuff, and it did help. But I'm in a good place right now. And again, even when I was in my entry level job, like in the breaking news one, she was like, "Well, when are you gonna get a promotion?" And I'm like, "I need like at least 2 more years of experience."
Like I started like 3 days ago. Like
Exactly. I started a year ago. It's not gonna happen yet.
yeah, like
and
not even a year.
Exactly. And the fact that I did get a promotion recently wasn't even in the plan. I just the opportunity came.
And you took it.
My coworkers kind of bullied me into it because they were telling me like, "We think you're ready for this. We think you'll be good." Blah blah blah. But even then, I technically didn't have like the requirement. The requirement was 3 years of experience. I had less than 1.5 of being full time. And even then, she's like, "Okay, but like, when are you gonna get your master's?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know." Like, so there's definitely pressure, but I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm satisfied. So I try not to let her pressure me anymore.
You've done a lot in just 2 years, actually. Like, if you really think about your timeline, like, usually that would be someone's, like, maybe their 5-year plan, but look at you. It's been 2 years. And we graduated together in 24.
I literally started my internship 2 weeks after graduating.
Right?
I had a week.
You had kind of like a...
Yeah, and I didn't know that was going to be my last week of freedom. I thought I was going to have...
You're like, summertime.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, internship's going to be
You're an adult
over.
now.
Yeah, and then I thought after the internship, okay, I'll probably have a few months to, like, look for another job. Nope, never happened.
No.
Which is,
well, I mean...
for better or for worse,
you didn't have to go through that, because I remember hearing all these people like, oh, my God, the job market, it's bad. And then, which was freaking me out. And then I see you, I'm like, she just got offered her job. Like, that's kind of the dream, you know, getting an internship and then getting offered a job from there. Like, that's, like, the perfect scenario.
I think it's also... I'd like to think that a part of it was like personality, because I ended up
for sure
showing my personality more. Because I think I did have this one other intern friend that was there at the same time, and I was like, "You have any advice for me?" And he was like, "Just don't." I think he told me, and I didn't understand at the moment what he meant, but he said, "Don't try to act like the cookie cut journalism, I guess. Like
Like a cookie cutter, like
yeah, like
yeah.
all perfect and everything. And so I tried not to. Like it was more so letting them know like I want to learn stuff.
Yeah.
And again, like showing my personality. I struggle with professionalism sometimes and like being serious. And so once my coworkers and my bosses kind of gave me that opening of I didn't have to be serious. I never am. It's kind of like
You don't have to.
yeah. So the point where I told one, she was like, "I've never seen you be serious a day in your life." I'm like that's not even true.
Wait,
but
that's funny. And she works with you.
yeah, she's literally my coworker.
That's funny. That's
then,
really funny.
Yeah, my boss one day was like, you bring this sense of unseriousness to the newsroom, but he didn't mean it in a bad. Well, I don't think he meant it in a bad way, but
No.
but also again, that could be different for every newsroom. Like some are probably a little bit more serious, but I like that we're very laid back and they let us be ourselves.
That's good.
So.
I'm glad that that's the environment you have because it could be like the totally opposite.
It really could be.
It really could be.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a bit more about your daily work life, like what it looks like, I guess? I know every day might not be the same and you have different things to do, but like your typical day, like can you walk me through that?
Yeah, so like you said, every day is different, but let's say it's a day where I'm a little bit busy or something. Usually start my days, unless it calls for something earlier, I usually start my days at 9 a.m. I'll check in with my boss, tell him what I'm working on that day. I'll write the story. Sometimes if it's an event or a meeting, we'll do pre-writing to get some of the background information. There's usually always background information on a topic and, find ways to relate it to our audience. And then I attend the meeting, the interview, whatever it is, write the story up, and then it goes through edits with my boss, and then we do our radio scripts. So there's like different types of scripts that you can do. You can do something that's called a voicer, so that's just you talking. You can do a rap and a cut and copy, which is when you have some sort of sound bite from an interview, something to include, like here's this person talking for like 10 seconds. And then that gets approved too, and then I record my radio pieces, which usually doesn't take that much time because they're like 50 seconds long or something on there. And then that's pretty much it. It sounds kind of simple, but like it's a lot of research, I would say. You definitely have to do a lot of research.
You gotta make sure you fact check.
You got
a lot to do.
Check your spelling, know your people, make your connections. You always have to reach out to people too.
Or else they'll come for you.
They will come for you. They're not, they don't,
Well, I actually got to shadow you at work.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, you did.
Lucky for the listeners, I documented some scenes from that day, and I would love to share it with you and them, and also to jog your memory from that day. In this segment, I call Day in the Work Life. Ready?
Yes. Friday, Judge Emily Tobolowski immediately denied the motion after attorneys for elderly.
Commented.
Actually, I'm gonna re-record that. For KERA News, I'm Penelope Rivera in Dallas.
Lend you my ears.
Okay.
Go.
I kind of forgot how to do it. That poor man.
All right.
He's trying to help me.
That was your day. Do you remember this day?
That was my day, yes. It looks boring, but I promise it wasn't. That day was...
It definitely wasn't boring.
No, it was crazy what the story was about. It was the whole...
What did you work on? Can you tell us?
So, as some people may know, Gateway Church, which is one of the biggest mega churches in the country, their founding pastor in 2024 that summer resigned after a woman named Cindy Clemashari came out and told her story on a blog about how he sexually abused her when she was 12 years old and he was 22 in the 80s. And it lasted for more than 4.5 years. So the church acknowledged it, and it's been this long thing ever since, because that was almost 2 years ago. He was criminally charged. He pleaded guilty. He's currently serving 6 months of a 10-year sentence in Oklahoma. And on top of that, she sued the church and him and his wife for allegedly for covering up the abuse for years, and for defaming her, for posting defamatory, I don't know if I pronounced that right, statements whenever the church did acknowledge her story when she came out about it. And so the whole thing with that is the church elders, they released a statement that said that he had been involved in an inappropriate relationship with a young lady or young woman. And so the argument there is she was not a young woman, she was a child. That's what was being argued. Well, this court case specifically that I went to, it was for two of the church elders. They're asking to be dismissed from the lawsuit. So both attorneys for her and then for them gave their arguments on why they shouldn't dismiss them. Immediately, I kid you not, a second after they were done with their arguments, the judge said, motion denied. Like, you're not getting dismissed.
Yeah.
There's like, Robert Morris has tried to, which is the pastor, the elders, the church, like a lot of people that were named in the lawsuit have been trying to get dismissed from it. All the motions have been denied. Because, everything's still alleged. Well, he was criminally convicted, but her lawsuit, obviously everything is still alleged. So, we'll see how it plays out. But it's
always how it plays out with cases like that.
Yeah, it's been a pretty big case that I've been following.
You broke some of that.
No, not that one. That was like major national news. Right. But that was like the one story that led to this string of other pastors in North Texas. And I did break some of those.
Do you think you love this process now? I know not every day looks the same, so maybe one day might be more interesting, or you might be in, I know you say you're sometimes in those city council meetings or commissioner meetings all day.
Those, because they only meet once a month. The last one was almost 9 hours because they called for recess twice. And it was
my God.
Yeah. So, you said, do I like it though, the process?
Yeah.
I do. I will say I've talked to other journalists that don't do radio, for example, and maybe they've had to do one or two and they're like, oh, I hate it. But I love it. From when I started, I love doing the radio part. I don't know why. It's just, it's fun to me, getting to learn how to do all of it. And it, obviously, since I've done it for a while, it takes me 10 minutes to write a script and then another 10 or 15 minutes to record and edit it. And then that's it.
If you could send a message to your younger self right now, what would you say?
That I don't even know. Maybe just stay focused and it's okay to make mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes that I made in my educational journey, my personal life, and nothing was linear. So it's okay to do that and to not be so hard on yourself, because your passion and your ambition can take you a lot of places, but you don't want to drain yourself either.
Yeah. And this is, I feel like, a career that can easily happen.
And I think no matter what, you will be okay. Because there was some rejections from some places before. There was, again, I didn't even join the newspaper till the last year. There was a lot of moments where I was so scared that I was not going to find a job. And that, I never had a doubt that this is what I wanted to major in, but what if it wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to? So I guess that, everything will work out. Everything will be okay, because it'll be okay, so.
And what advice or message can you give to other aspiring journalists in the Latina community?
Do not forget where you came from. Always remember your background, because that is one of the things that I am so proud of. And if it comes up, I love talking about my background and how much my representation matters. It matters to see faces like mine in the media, which is rare, again, especially with darker skin and more indigenous looking Latinas. I think that's always important.
For sure.
So do not let the way you look or the way people might perceive you get in the way of what you want to do. Because I feel like that can be a hard thing, especially right now.
How can you motivate other young Latinas to pursue this career?
I think definitely, like, it's so generic, but being yourself, that's truly helped me so much. Being ambitious and passionate, like, that can take you so many places. If someone knows how much you want to do something, do not let anyone tell you otherwise. And again, like, the way you look is just it's another mere thing, but it will not determine how successful you can be. And join your student newspaper. Yes,
Yes.
I will say that. Because that, not only is it the experience, but the connections that you make. Make as many connections as you can along the way. That helps too. So
Yeah, because we still talk to a lot of the people we work there with.
yeah, I mean, there's like 4 people from UNT that are at the Fort Worth Report. So, and I've kept in touch with them. So
That's for sure. Make as many connections as you can, and not even like just to move up in life, but also to just have those genuine connections with other people.
yeah.
That's important. Is there a journalist or reporter that you look up to currently? It could be somebody you know, or maybe like an influential figure.
I can't. Okay, I do know some. I swear I know
If
some.
not, it's okay.
But I just can't think of their names right now. I think I genuinely feel like I am surrounded by so many smart journalists. And I think off the top of my head, like I've told you, but I talk about Tolawani all the time. I think it's because she's my age. She's only a couple months older. And she was in the same boat when she started as general assignments reporter. She was fresh out of college. It was her first gig. And she started before me, I think like almost 2 years before me. But she is truly one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I feel like I learned so much from her, especially because I have an interest in a little bit of law and justice, which is literally her beat. She's the law and justice reporter. So I look up to her sometimes, or a lot, honestly. And I love when we get to collaborate on stories. I just feel like I'm always learning something from her. And just the way she presents herself, the connections that she's made, the reporting that she's done. Like, I want to be like her, honestly.
Oh. On that note, do you know who Maria Amelia Martin is?
I don't think so.
Well, this educational segment that I'm introducing called Women Before Us, it's where I highlight a notable woman who shares the same profession as the episode's guest, so you. So hopefully their story can inspire you and educate the listeners on someone who's made a massive impact in their field. So, and I think you'll find this one very interesting.
Okay.
Like I looked for her and I thought her story was really great. But Maria Amelia Martin was a Mexican-born American and a pioneering radio journalist who focused on Latin American and Latino affairs in her reporting. She was an advocate for Latin and Indigenous voices in journalism, but most notably, she founded Latino USA, a radio show focused on Latin American culture, issues, and history. And that same show is now the longest-running public radio show in the country. She was also a teacher and a mentor to so many young journalists in the United States and Latin America. And sadly, she passed away on December 2nd, 2023.
I didn't know that.
She actually started as an activist, which kind of led her into like radio. Radio. But she was born in Mexico City in 1951. And her mother is Mexican and her father was actually Irish. And he was actually a journalist also. So I think that's kind of where she got it from. But she grew up in states like Arizona, Texas, and California. And fun fact, her career is almost as long as the presence of Latinos working in public radio in this country.
Dang.
Like, she was a pioneer.
She was one of the very first ones.
Like, literally. And actually, the start of her career was in 1975 at Sonoma State University in California. She joined a Chicana group because, like I said, she was an activist. It was called Mujeres por la Raza. And KBBF, the first Latino-owned and operated community bilingual public radio station in the U.S., invited them to host a weekly show. And so she ended up dropping out of school, actually, to volunteer on this radio station and help produce a weekly talk show about women's issues. It was called Somos Chicanas. And eventually after that, she joined KBBF as the first Latina news director in America. Dang. So she, like, basically took her activism and redirected it into this career that she could build through, like, her interest of radio. So I'm like, that's kind of cool how, because I kind of feel like I'm in the same boat where I want to consider myself an activist, And the way that I can do that is through journalism. So
Yeah.
it was really cool to see that. That's how she came into it.
That's, and it sucks that sometimes you can't, like, I would love to, the activism stuff too,
Mhm.
but some sacrifices you gotta make, I guess.
Yeah. But every
That's-
work is
yeah.
just as valuable, even if you can't
Mhm.
say your full opinion.
But honestly, I would like, that would be a really nice thing too, to be able to
Mhm.
cover Latino and indigenous and Chicana culture.
Mhm.
That would be really, really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I could do a blog.
You
I don't
could.
know.
You could do. Yeah, you could start your own blog. I always said about that too.
Yeah.
But I think you'll find this part interesting. After that, Maria became the first and only Latino affairs editor on the national desk at NPR for a show called Latin File. And this was honestly like a huge moment for Latinos in public media. She actually went to Congress. Like they knew her by name. They knew like the work that she was doing and the activism towards getting Latino representation on public radio. And so she managed to get them to allocate money for like to report and have like a Latin radio show and to have that and to even have her position. Like that money that was given to NPR was because of how much she fought for it. She ended up leaving NPR like pretty soon after that. Like she wasn't there for so long because she felt like she had more work to do. So she left in 1992, and that's when she created Latino USA. It was an English language radio, or it is an English language radio program with the goal to reflect the diversity of the Latino community in all of its beauty and in all of its pain. And so she basically brought the show to life with the help of the Center for Mexican American Studies at the University of Texas in Austin, and it was funded by the Ford Foundation. And they actually sought her out for this project because of the work that she had done and, you know, her activism and her experience in radio. They wanted her to help create this project. And she also appointed Maria Hinojosa. Do you know who she is? She's another prominent journalist, but she became the host of this show, and she was appointed by Maria. And so this show covered Latin communities throughout the Americas, and it's been a big popular show ever since. After that, she did end up leaving in like the early 2000s because there were some conflicts over the show's mission, so she kind of felt forced out, so that's why she left. She didn't want to leave, but she just felt like she had to. But she actually moved to Guatemala after that, and she started producing a bilingual radio show focusing on the people of Central America in the aftermath of the Civil Wars. And she also founded the Gracias Vida Center for Media in Guatemala, where she trained independent rural journalists in Guatemala, Bolivia, and Nicaragua. And she also trained them on multimedia radio production and digital skills. And she also produced a 26-part bilingual radio documentary called Después de las Guerras, Central America After the Wars. And then in her recent years, before her death, she focused on promoting independent journalism and education. And she frequently traveled to Austin and San Antonio to collaborate with the Esperanza Peace and Justice Center, which focuses on enhancing Central America's coverage on U.S. public radio and elevating the skills and opportunities for rural and indigenous journalists. So that was pretty much like what she was doing for the rest of her life. Like she was focusing on giving these people voices and helping them with their journalism skills. She had a memoir. It was called Crossing Borders, Building Bridges, A Journalist's Heart in Latin America. And she wrote about overcoming racism and sexism in U.S. media and her work dedicated to training other Latina journalists. Like she really paved a way for Latina journalists like us to be taken seriously in these places. And I guess literally, especially you, because it was radio, like literally you were what she was doing all the work for. So that was really cool to hear her story. And they quoted her saying this, like they added a clip, and I just really liked the quote because it kind of relates to where our conversation was. But she said, "I tell my students that when people will tell you their stories, they are giving you a gift. They are opening up their hearts and their souls, and you have to let them know that you appreciate that in whatever way it is." And I'm like, that's literally what I think about all the time.
That's literally what I was telling you. Like whenever people share their stories, I just feel so lucky that I get to hear it. Just be someone to listen.
I guess in this sense, why do you think it is important to follow your passions and do something you love?
For me personally, I just couldn't see myself not wanting to follow something that I'm passionate about and live a life that has a purpose. And for me, that purpose is helping others through my writing and in any way that I can. It's important because I don't know, you kind of prove something to yourself that you can do it and you are capable. And I think to an extent, your reality is really what your mindset is. And so if I kept telling myself that there's no other option. Like I cannot not be successful. I can't not be a journalist. So it's always just important to me. And I feel like there's so many stories out there that need to be shared. And if I'm that one person that can gain their trust to help them, and I'm glad I could even do that for one person. So I think that's why it's important.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or mention that I didn't ask you as we wrap this up?
I don't know. We talked about so much.
I know.
I don't know. I think no matter what, it is so important to have diversity in every single career that we're in. And just talking from our own cultural background, like you said, we're more than just the blue collar jobs. And I hope that people see that. I hope that people see that we contribute to this country just as much as the next person, and that we're never gonna go anywhere. We're just gonna keep having our voices heard and our faces out there. And I hope that people see me for my work ethic before anything else.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on this podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, always. And thank you so much for giving this podcast a chance to the listeners. I hope you guys learned something new or maybe gained some inspiration to pursue your passions from Penelope. Please subscribe to this channel to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. And I will also link my social media in the description so you can catch highlights from this episode as well as teasers for the next guest. We have another amazing, inspirational woman who's ready to tell their story. And until next time, remember that these are real lives of real people who deserve to be unstereotyped.